Yetunde, I'm so grateful to have you today. I am thrilled to be able to share your business with the world. Thank you, ma'am.
I am excited to be here. Thank you for making the time and for the invitation. I'm looking forward to helping your listeners have a shift in either how they see themselves or how they should move forward so that they can feel better about who they are, how they show up, and
Yeah.
about our world.
Yeah. And you know what? That's what I've loved about following your content, coming across your information. I have definitely been within your community now for maybe at least a year and a half. I'm not sure, but love it, love it, love it. You not only bring the energy that makes it so much fun to work. You bring richness and wealth, great information. You've got such a robust background. So thank you again for being here. And just tell us where you've been, but man, you have got an abundance ahead of you. And I love to see everything processing and evolving the way that it has.
Yeah.
Please share what you'd like today. Thank you.
So thank you. So I like to think of this as getting the invitation from God to come into this world. Like God sending me here, like, all right, Yetunde, this is what you're gonna do. And you're gonna discover your purpose when you're 11, but you first experience something when you're 6, and your first memory will be when you're 2. I've literally been an alert person for a long time. I tell my kids now, I have two twin girls that are 8-year-olds. I literally have, I remember my childhood. I remember my first memory when I was 2. I remember a lot of things. And, and I think I got to a place where I accepted, and I even just realized, and I accepted that I'm a different breed because of the work God requires me to do in this earth. And so I have memories so that I can connect, relate, and to my kids, to other people, and their inner child, so to speak. And so my work has been honestly on a journey of self actualization. And on that path, sharing what I learn when I get insights, because I feel like if I understand something, I know how to synthesize to help people understand so that they can apply it. So it's the connection of purpose. And when you're clear on what your purpose is, you can have more impact. And when you can have more impact, should you decide you want to make money with it, you can too. Guilt free, confidently, unapologetically. And I'm a girl's girl. Like I love hanging out with women. I love just the richness of women, the way we think, the way we navigate the world. And so I connect on that level to women. And I see them. And I think that's where, as a coach, I differ is I literally see who you are and who you're meant to be, and I'm able to translate that to you. So I have clients that end up being my friends just because it almost always happens. So my journey has been one of discovery of self so that I can share for others. So not necessarily for me. It's like, okay, God is like, you're going to experience this emotional growth. You're going to experience this situation or whatever it is so that I can help somebody else see God in themselves. And when you see God in yourself, you honor yourself, you respect yourself, you treat yourself differently. And so I've just enjoyed in the ups and downs, mostly enjoyed this journey of self-actualization and helping people step fully into their purpose so that they can be better, their loved ones can be better, and our world can be better. So that's my little part I have to play as a love agent, hashtag love agent, in this process that God has called me to.
Hashtag love agent. I really, really, really appreciate that one. I'm going to use it as soon as possible today.
Please, yes, please, immediately.
Hashtag love agent. Fantastic. And, I really can relate to being aware, highly aware.
Hmm.
I have memories as early as I say 3 years old.
Yeah,
And so that certainly resonates with me
yeah,
because you are sensitive. Earlier in our
hmm,
conversation before we began recording, you even mentioned it being an empath, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm an empath. introvert, but I'm also an extrovert when needed, right? How do you describe yourself in regard to that?
So, for a long time, I used to think I was an extrovert, and it was later in my 30s that I came to the truth, which is I'm an introvert with the skills of an extrovert. And so I enjoy me time more. I conserve energy more. Like it's so I think people mistake introversion as shyness. I'm not a shy person. I think so people get confused when they meet me and they're like, how are you an introvert? I'm like, the introvert is not about being shy. It's about how you recharge. I do not recharge with a lot of people. I recharge by myself, either with my mate, my husband, just me. I love going away and taking personal retreats. So I in that respect, I describe myself as an introvert who is empathic, and I am more intuitive. So I tune into my emotions more and tune into my gut reaction more than anything else. And I've literally trained that since I was, 3 years old. So I always say intuition is a strategy. And that's one of those things that I don't know how to teach it. You have to train and practice your intuition. And I've been doing it so long. My mother taught me how to master it. So I'm an introvert who's an empath and highly intuitive, and I get to because I was raised by a mom who is also who's actually more logical than I am. So I'm influenced by logical thinking because I know how to do it since she raised me, and my husband's also logical. So I think that kind of worked out because being raised by my mom and marrying my husband, I'm like, this was the reason because I know how to understand and could relate to logical people, but I'm highly emotive, but I understand logic. So for me, having that experience is like bridging two worlds, and I get to connect with my clients in that way. I get to meet them emotionally, but I give you the practical things for your logical mind to understand. So that's how I would describe myself in that way.
Very interesting. I would love to hear more about the the practicals your mom taught you when
Yeah.
you were younger, as she recognized who you were.
Yeah.
About how early was that? Is that something you can
Three.
break down right now?
Three,
Okay.
three. Yeah. So it would be something as simple as, teaching me to breathe, like when I get anxious or when I experience. So I remember, let me give you an example. I remember the first time, I was probably 4 years old at this time, that I experienced jealousy. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I didn't know I didn't know that was what you call it then. But a friend of mine, I think her parents had traveled out of the country and they bought a bunch of stuff for her. And, she invited us to come see all the stuff they bought. And at the end of it, they gave me a pair of socks, right? And I didn't know what emotion was. I was just like, and I felt something, and I went to my mom, and I said, they only gave me this socks, like they showed me all this huge luggage of all the stuff they brought for my friend, but they only gave me this sock and this green sock. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my mom said, she was like, "Oh, yesterday what you're experiencing is jealousy." I said, "Well, I never want to feel this again." I remember saying that. And she said, "There's nothing wrong with feeling that now." She said, "Because you're young and this is first time you're having experiences, emotions." And she said, "Jealousy is when you want what somebody else has, or you wish you had what somebody else has." So she explained envy and jealousy to me. And I literally distinctly remembering, I never want to feel this again. And at that age, I decided that I was just going to be genuinely happy for people. Like I would just genuinely like, and even now my friends are like, when they share news with me, I'm actually more excited than they are. They're like, "Okay, girl, it's not that serious." And I'm like, no, because I see the bigger picture. And I understand that when jealousy and envy shows up, it's not about the other person, it's about me. What am I not feeling is enough that I have to feel envious of jealousy about? And I immediately check myself. But I remember that emotion and that feeling, and I just distinctly remembering I never want to feel this way again as a 4-year old.
Mhm.
And my mom being able to explain that to me. So so the logic was her breaking down what that means, and the emotion was like she hugged me, and then I think she either bought me ice cream or cake, something to like kind of like soothe my emotion, and we
Mhm.
just hung out and until the emotion dissipated. But I recognized that was the first time I felt a strong feeling of envy and jealousy, and deciding in that moment, I never want to feel this again. And
Mhm.
I was going to be genuinely happy for people. And so I've literally carried that on till today.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other way. Literally, I don't know any other way.
And I think that's fantastic. Was it about that stage of life where you really recognized, and it sounds like you certainly were able to tap into your inner leadership strengths, even
Right.
at that young of an age, because
Right.
you made the decision. You
Hmm.
definitely recognized
Yeah.
and received and accepted the lesson your mom was helping you to
Yeah.
understand.
Hmm.
You were able to process that, it sounds like. And you were able to make a firm decision. Oh,
Yeah.
no, 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 we're not
Yeah.
moving forward with this type of negativity. So
Yeah.
excellent. Tell me more
Yeah.
about, um, your best memories of recognizing the leader within you as a
Yeah. I think it's about personal power, right? So here's what I've come to understand after all this many years of coaching. Some people have it and some people need other people to give it to them, and that's okay. Like, so if you don't have it, that's not a bad thing. If you don't have it, that's actually a good thing as well, because you have resources you can tap into that will give you that personal power. So one of the times I remember activating this was, I was born in Chicago, raised in Nigeria. And in Nigeria, it's kind of standard that you go to boarding school by like age 10. So I remember, and I have an older brother who at that time had come back to America for college. So it was just me and my mom. And I remember when I started boarding school, the first or second semester when we came home for like holidays, I went to my mom and I said, I want to have a relationship with you because if we don't do it now, it will never happen. I remember that, and she remembers it. And she was like, I'm sure my mom was looking like this child, like, what the, you know? But I remember saying that because I don't know what wisdom I had then or what intuitive, because that's intuition, right? Intuitive hit I had that. Because my mom and I at that time weren't really close. I was just her daughter, and she would do the regular mommy daughter things. We didn't really connect in that way. And so saying that to her when I came home, and she said, okay. And so I would tell her what's going on. Like, my mom is one of my dear friends now. We're so close. Like, we talk, like, she's insightful. I share what's going on. I'm honest with her. And even now I get to do the same thing with my mother-in-law. Because I tell my mother-in-law, I said, look, I talk to you like I talk to my mom, which is sincere. If you're doing something that is rubbing me the wrong way, I'll be like, Ma, that's not working out. Like, I talk to my mom and my mother-in-law the same way. And that was one of the times I remember consciously deciding to have a relationship with my mom, because I felt like maybe on a soul level that it would be pivotal to my life now. But also the awareness of my personal power to decide on how my life is going to go. And I know many people don't have that. I won't say many people, some people don't have that. And so for, for, for you to understand what this is, so there are some people that are internally motivated and some people that are externally motivated. I'm internally motivated, which means I can fire my butt up to like do what I need to do. And if you're externally motivated, this is I need you to understand, this is a phrase that my husband always says. It is important that you're highly selective about whose opinion matters to you. It is important that you're highly selective about whose opinion matters to you. If you're externally motivated, which means for you to feel valid, you need somebody else to tell you that. You need to make sure you have the right people that have your best interest at heart, because they're the ones that will fuel you and validate you. And that's where you tap into intuition to identify, okay, who are my people? And so if you're internally motivated, it's easy for you to be self-motivated to like, okay, work on your personal powers. And I'm internally motivated. But I have clients that are externally motivated, and I just give them that advice. And now they have like a cabal of like people they talk to, no more than 5 people, and that's even pushing it. That they go to for counseling or for perspective, and sometimes to soundboard. You know.
And what I hear is that even though, when you were a young girl and wanting to relate more to your mom and
Mhm.
had the boldness to let her know, look, if we're going to be uh, relating to one another, it
Yeah.
needs to be an intentional
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
So, um, I would say what I hear you saying is that even though you are internally, say it again,
Internally motivated.
internally
Internally motivated.
motivated, it
Yeah.
was still extremely important that you have that woman connection
Yeah.
primarily with your
Yeah.
mom, right? And um, although you can get yourself fired up,
Mm-hmm.
the level of companionship and unity was significant for
Yeah,
you to be your best. And you
that's right.
recognize that at that young age. And you took the leadership role
Right.
within that interaction.
Relationship. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
very good. Very, very good. Um, you got me thinking.
That's good. I like that. That's good.
I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be asking the questions,
No,
but
please, let's talk. We're just
I'm over
talking.
here processing, and
It's
I love
okay.
it. And it's that's the reason why you've seen me. You've seen me in your court or online, and
Yeah.
I'll go into onto the website to see what she got going on now, And I love being a part of the Owner Society. Go ahead and share a little bit about what that is.
Yes. So I have this one friend who is one of the best literally in the world of building community. And she has one of the largest Facebook groups in the world. Facebook actually consults with her on how to create community. Companies consult with her as well. And she's been telling me literally, I would say like for maybe 10 years, Yetunde, you need to build a community. You need to build a community. And I'm like, no, it's too much responsibilities. Like you got to keep up with people. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth. I'm more of a motivational person than an accountability person. I need accountability. So I will motivate you, but I'm not going to be calling you every day to like do the thing. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't even have the energy. And I know that. And so I think I was dissuaded from community because it just felt like a lot to manage. Um, but two things happened in the last 5 years that have kind of shifted my perspective. One is that my friend kept calling me and saying, when are you going to build your community? Like, I will help you. I will teach you all the things. And she actually had a session with me to tell me how. And then the second thing that happened was my husband actually runs one of the top communities for leaders um, in philanthropy. And so I've seen him build community. He does it like this. And then I thought to myself, okay, if I wanted to, I asked him for tips. I was like, okay, I want to build this community. How do I do it? Like, and I started listing these things. Like for me, I was like, okay, I want to give them this, I want to give them that. I want to, they will have access to this. He's like, nope. I was like, what do you mean no? Like, that's the whole point. Like, he's like, no. He's like, you cannot build a community based on transaction. It has to be based on the identity. He's like, so what is the identity? What are the beliefs? What are the behaviors that support somebody who will be a member of the owner society, right? So the society initially used to be called the Premier Power Circle. So I did a kind of beta test about that 5 years ago, and I had like maybe 10 or 12 members that were paying monthly and were having sessions doing the things. But it was and at that time it was transactional. So it was half and half. Like I would communicate with them, but it was like me offering courses and things for them to learn about NLP and all these things. And eventually I phased it out because I'm like, I can't, the energy to do that. So my husband was like, you're supposed to build community is around an identity, not around what they're going to get. It's around who they are. And I had to sit down and write down, okay, who is the woman in the owners class and the owners society? So let me break that down for you. There's levels to that. Levels meaning there's some, so I tested out the name, the owner society, right? There's some women who did not like it because of the name owner and what it means historically as a black woman and the word owner in this country and how is the historical context of it. And then there is the part of me that understands there's a difference between an owner and a thief. And what's happened is the thief has hijacked the word owner to mean owner. The idea of ownership means something belongs to you. When someone takes something that doesn't belong to them, they're not an owner, they're a thief. So that was first, shifting to my mind to accept that the word owner is to when you talk about I own myself, you own you, I own my house. It belongs to you. Things that belong to you are things that you have ownership about. When you think of people of African descent who were enslaved here, they did not belong to the European class. They were stolen. There's a big difference from, so there's so many layers to this. And so when I think about the word owners society, what I'm trying to build is a society of women who understand that ownership is belonging. There's responsibility that comes with ownership that doesn't come when you steal something, right? And so it's using that word to help you understand how you need to own your mind, own your thoughts, own your possibilities, own your mentality. You don't get to punt it on somebody else. When you own, you have to be responsible. And purpose-led women understand the power of ownership, because that's how you're free, and that's how you build. That's how you're, what's the word? It's not even just free. I think it's even deeper than that, because freedom suggests that you can be taken again, but it's a way of being.
Liberated is,
I don't even know, because freedom always just feels like, to me, when you're not free, you're in captivity. I don't like that, just mentally for me. So I always think of a word that is beyond that, and I think it's a beingness.
yeah,
When it's just who you are. It's your beingness. And so the idea of
your
the owner
essence.
society, yeah, essence. The idea of the owner society is to pull together women who understand and identify as purpose driven, full of integrity, and have a holistic perspective on how they should be. You consider not just your business, you consider your social life, your mental well-being, your life as a friend, as a sister, as a mom, as someone who wants to work out or who's having trouble working out. It's a holistic perspective on who you are. So the owner society, my goal is to create a space where women who align with that identity, who understand and have certain beliefs and follow the behaviors, right? So us in this conversation, that's a behavior of someone in the owner society. You reach out, we're like, okay, I'm there. It's not a transactional thing. It's literally heart-centered. And so the blessings come from that. And so my excitement about the owner society, which I haven't, you're like in the inner space of what's going on. I haven't really finished branding it and packaging it yet. But as I evolve to launch this community, this village, this circle of purpose-driven, integral women who want a holistic perspective on their life. As I pull together these women with these identities, I'm looking forward to sharing with them the understandings and insight that I have, the understandings that inside, having them have the opportunity to share the understandings and insight that they have with our community, so that we can be in a space to transform our communities. They can be in a space to transform their own communities, but it's like working with the 1%, the leaders of the leaders. My job that's where my work is. And so I work with them and they work with everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you make it very easy to, number one, um, identify yourself. You come validated, but it's even when you're in a richer atmosphere,
Right.
uh, that you can't help but be more validated when you
Right.
see someone who is about the logic, the breaking down, the
Right.
processing. I like the way that you test out,
Thank you.
your services. When you've kind of watched someone for a great amount of time, there's a difference between someone just throwing stuff at you,
Yeah.
or seeing that someone is actually working it out behind the
Yeah.
scenes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I really love that. Even what you posted this week in regard to copying someone else's style of leadership. Can you go more into that?
Well, yeah, I think in the search for inspiration, people get lost or they lose who they are. In search for inspiration, we get excited, we admire somebody else's work, and we think, that could look good on me. And my husband always says this quote, and I love quoting my husband because he has some incredible quotes. But he's when we talk about stuff like this, the quote he uses that I think is like adequate and correct is, when in Rome, put a sash on your dashiki and call it a toga. When in Rome, put a sash on your dashiki and call it a toga, which means you still get to be yourself. The style is just matching the style of where you are. So I think what happens is instead of people putting a sash on their own fabric, they take somebody else's fabric and put it on. It's still not your fabric. Right. So that's the way I think about it in terms of leadership and showing up as yourself is, you study and learn and do all the things and then sit down and actually think for yourself. What do I like? What do I not like? What is actually me? What do I want that is my own idea, my own thoughts, my own way of being that I can bring to the table? And I promise you, there's people that will love that. I think that's the thing that dissuades creative people, where you think, okay, if I do it like this person, maybe I can attract their person. Nope.
Yeah, because your people are still waiting for you to be you. I need you to be you so that so that I
Exactly.
can definitely tap into what you're bringing to the table. I don't need for
Exactly.
you to be copying somebody else. I'm still waiting for you to be you so that you
Exactly.
can be used for why you were created.
Exactly. And I think part of and which is why, so the compassion I have is understanding that some people are still in discovery of who they are, right? So up until then, they're testing other people's things, and sometimes it takes longer. But I think what I would say to help you accelerate that process is literally spend time, learn. Okay, think about, okay, if you, let's see, who can I use it? So say for instance, somebody likes Lisa Nichols. You like the way she presents and talks, or you like Oprah, whoever. Give yourself time, study what they do, how they do it, and then give yourself literally a time that you're going to be like, all right, what did I learn from this person or that person's behavior? What is feels like me that they do that I like, and what is it's okay but not really. So I think the distance between the practicing to be other people needs to be shortened, because you need to get to you faster. So I understand there's a period of evolution that has to happen. There's a period of, okay, I like this person, I like that person, I like that person, I like that person. You need to have a time where it's like, okay, what do I like? And then at that point, you can be yourself. So I think that there's room for people exploring. It's just don't take too long exploring, because some people sit there and then they forget, and then literally the people you are meant to serve, that you are specifically meant to serve, never get to their own actualization because you didn't get to yours. And that is the part that I have an issue with, because I'm like, you stalling on your calling is stopping somebody else. And if you don't hurry up, somebody else who is not qualified will get a hold of that person and mess them up. And then you're going to have to undo all the stuff that they did. Who has time? We don't have time for that. Like, get
Yeah.
to it.
The counterfeit will bring a contaminated version.
We
And
don't want that.
yeah, and not that they even mean to do harm, but they're just stuck in the mindset of I've got a copy and I see what Melanie's trying to do, so
Yeah.
let me just try to tap into that. Therefore, being not the one that was purely created to fulfill Melanie's assignment,
Right.
and then the ones that you're attracting with your counterfeit
Right. Right.
copying.
Right.
You're messing up other people. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And can you go a little bit more into your involvement professionally, of course?
Right.
And can I just say, I have to confess,
Yes.
God willing, God willing, at some point, you and your husband will be sitting across from me, because you two are a power couple. Uh, I believe I came across maybe someone that was a fellow in his
Mm-hmm.
program or a former program of his.
Yeah. Yeah. He
And
still
then I
has it.
saw what he was doing. I was like, oh my gosh, I love him. And I love the mission and the organization, because they're
Yeah.
doing powerful things, are
Yeah.
doing powerful things for the men. However, in the meantime,
And the women, they do both. They do both.
amen. And I came
Yeah.
across you that way. And I was
Okay.
like, well, look at mama over here. And
That's funny.
the name of the organization your husband had
Be
was
me community. Be
Be
me community.
Be
Be
Me
me. Be
Community.
me
Yeah.
community.
Yes, 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 yes. So yes, absolutely, in the name of Jesus. I really would love to have the time to sit and conversate with both of you in regard to how you evolve
Mhm.
and do all the things that you do,
Right.
parenting twins. I'm talking about the two of you. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
such powerful impact globally for our communities. I truly love you both. Professionally, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
I know what you mean. It's all good.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
in terms of I've known my husband for 18 years, and we spent the first 7 years just not being serious. And then eventually we're like, all right, let's just do this. And we've been married for 10 years now, going on 11 years. And, and in terms of the journey, I would say, I think because we're both purpose centered, like we came that way. I met my husband when I was like 28. I think we were 35 when I was 34 going on 35 when we got together. So we were more mature, so to speak. So I think there's a sense so that added to it. And it's crazy because I remember when I first moved to Miami in my 20s, there was an older woman that we were hanging out at some club or bar somewhere. We're just hanging out, some networking event. And she looked at me, I don't know why, and she said to me, don't get married until you're in your 30s. You'll be grateful that you waited. I was like, and at that point, I was going through a midlife crisis. Like I just finished. I was 25 3 years ago. I was supposed to be married. Blah blah blah. No, thank God, because thank God. So I think that is a part of it. So I had a better sense of who I am and what my purpose is. Still on the journey of, but I was clearer on what I'm called to do. I had accepted my mission, so to speak. And my husband was already on his path since he was in his 20s. He's like 13 years older than me. So I think that made it easier in a way because we both know we're purpose centered. So that's where was our connection. And then another connection was he works on community, I work on the individual. So it's a twofer. So I work on you as a person, and then if we did have something where we're working together, it'd be you go to Yetunde so she can help you align your identity and who you are, and then move over to Travian side so you can get the community to support that, right? So I think just talk about equally yoked, we were aligned in that way, and we were clear on what we wanted and not wanted. I know that I like to travel, so that was one of those conversations we had. Like, I have to travel, and I said when we have kids, that our kids are going to travel, because I want them to be global citizens. So there's just things that we kind of talked about literally before we got together, and adjust accordingly as we are in our marriage. But it's more of a because we came on our own, purpose centered, and understanding that this is a literal divine union, like that we couldn't be with other people, like it couldn't work, like we were supposed to be together because of this work, and because of who we are, and how God blesses us with our mates. Like, I'm a blessing to him, he's a blessing to me. So I think all of that helps with the evolution of the work that we're doing, who we're becoming in the process, and how we share that life as a testimony to how God operates when you're in divine alignment.
Again, so extremely vital that we know who we are. And it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome when you can believe who you've
Yeah.
recognized you are.
Yeah.
You saw it as a toddler.
Yeah.
That's for all of us.
Yeah.
Believe that. Believe
Yeah.
your truth. Don't allow the world to talk you out of who you are so that by the
Yeah.
time you're graduating from high school or
Mm-hmm.
entering into college or deciding college is not for you, that's
Right.
your truth that no one
Yeah.
can take away or talk you
Yeah.
out of, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You must believe the voice inside of you.
Yeah.
No one can
Yeah.
speak over that or tell you the voice inside of you is not
Yeah.
true, no matter what
That's true.
stage of life you're in,
Right.
especially when you're seeking after goodness and
Mm-hmm.
righteousness, and you know that you're attracted to all things that are building and
Yeah.
unifying and
Yeah.
empowering, right?
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to talk to both of
Yeah.
you together. And you know what? I love the fact that you definitely shared. Yes, Yetunde is the individual, and
Mhm.
then your husband is doing more of the group. And like I said, but by the time I came across your stuff, I'm like, I'm so far behind in what he's doing now because I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but I know
That's
right
hilarious.
here, I need to stick with this. I'm sticking with this. So you
That's
all cannot
hilarious. That's
shake me.
awesome.
You cannot
Thank
shake
you.
me.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, tell me a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about your evolution, ma'am.
So when I think about the evolution from the 3-year-old memory, or 2-year-old memory, 3-year-old memory, 6 years, I was 6 years old when I first got exposed to what PR is. I was 11 years old when I first experienced my purpose actually in terms of coaching people through their next level. Um, and then from then it was like, okay, what does this look like in my life? And I remember because in Nigeria, you're either a lawyer, doctor, engineer, or banker, right? And I remember deciding I was going to be a lawyer. I was in the debating team. I was good with arguments, and I was emotive and logical, so it was like a twofer. And then I remember, I think I was in either my second year, yeah, sophomore year in college, and I thought, I do not want to be a lawyer. And we had gotten one of the courses I took, we had to do a uh, campaign, an advertising campaign. I think it was for Verizon, like a, you know, mock-up advertising campaign. And I think I was just fascinated by the idea that something so short, 30-second commercial, 45-second commercial, can literally impact millions. I was flabbergasted. I was like, what? I'm like, I want to reach more people. Why would I go law school? If I go to law school, I have to do all this reading and memorize all these things. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to be broke. And if I'm broke, that means I'm gonna have to work on the plaintiff side, and I don't want to work for the bad guys on the defendant side. Like, what am I gonna do? But not all the defendants are bad guys. It was too much thinking. So that was when I switched to public relations, and I fell in love with PR. I fell in love with PR because the first time I experienced PR, I was 6 years old. So it kind of brought it all together. I was like, okay, I love the idea of helping people get known, right? So it wasn't about me. It was about helping more people know about your work or your product or your service. So I started off in fashion and entertainment PR. And slowly, even in that, I was, coaching my clients through how they're feeling, thinking about the exposure, all of that stuff, crisis management. And so I slowly started coaching in my business as I was um, evolving. And honestly, the shift happened, I think it was 2009 when I took a nap on my section. So by that time, I had quit the job I was, resigned. I resigned from the job I had then, which I was the director of communications for a company that planned concerts in South Africa, in South Florida. And so I was like, I was working for myself at that point. I took a break in the afternoon to like just chill out. I was like, okay, let me take a quick nap. Woke up and I couldn't move my legs. And I'm like, what in the what? And I'm freaking out. Luckily, my phone was next to me. I pick up my phone, call up one of my pharmaceutical doctor friends. I'm like, I can't move my legs. She's like, take a deep breath. I'm like, I couldn't breathe. I'm like, what do you mean take a deep breath? I can't feel my legs. Like, what is that? So she told me to do a few things. Pinch your finger, pinch your hand, pinch. She just tried to get my nerves moving. And eventually, my legs started moving. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. She's like, okay, you might need to go to the hospital and just get checked, make sure everything is fine. Did I get to the hospital and get checked? Of course not. Kept it moving. I went back to a stressful working situation because I had international clients. So I was barely sleeping. And then I ended up in the hospital with adrenal fatigue. And I had a moment of clarity where I realized if I died now, this was me, I think I was 20, yeah, 29. If I died now, my family they would cry, they would eat rice, they would dance, and they would move on. I was like, well, that's not going to happen. And so that was my wake up call to step fully into my purpose. And so when I say the trajectory of my life changed from that point of that decision, mind blowing. I decided, okay, I was going to spend 30 days to change my life. I think that was either October or November 2000. I think it was October. So I was like, 30 days, I want to change my life. I stopped watching TV. I read a lot of books. I was more mindful. I decided in that moment, I was going to be intentional about the energy I allowed in any room when I'm there. Even that sign on my thing says, please be mindful of the energy you bring into this space. And so that included, if I go back to my Facebook page, the messages I started leaving on my wall were just more cognizant that I have a powerful energy and I have to bring it positively for others. And so that was the shift. And from there, I started coaching more. In 2019, I decided, okay, I didn't want to do PR anymore. I wanted to fully coach. And so I slowly shifted into coaching. I got my certification in neuro-linguistic programming, which is understanding kind of the, how do I say it? I call it the understanding the subconscious, how the subconscious works. And then I got my certification in brain-centric design, how the brain works. And for me, this was the logical part. I know I'm an emotional person. I was like, okay, what do I need to understand so I can help my clients know how their brain works and how their mind works and help them feel into that so that they can shift things, right? And so the combination of that has been kind of my evolution now, where I can connect the dots between a limiting belief, how to remove that belief, how to install a new one, what you need to do so that your brain can accept it quicker, and how to step into a new identity version of you confidently. So that you literally the you were yesterday is like, she's not here anymore. And it's not, and we're not afraid of it. We're just more like, we know that the next level of us is here and we know how to embrace her and tap into that energy to do what we're called to do. Again, because I understand that my purpose is to help more women and a few men step fully into their purpose. And I learn whatever I need to learn, understand whatever I need to learn to help you do that. So I'm very resourceful. If it's AI, if it's marketing, if it's strategy, I learn all the things I need to do because I know the different things that can be in the way of your purpose. And so I need to know them so I can tell you how to remove them so you can live this purpose out. And so that's been my evolution. So I'm at the place now where I'm learning to create products that don't need me to be there so that I can reach more people.
And there's even, I just don't want to forget to mention at your website, people can take an assessment, a
Yes.
quiz, go more into it. You are able to describe it better than I, of course.
Yeah, so I created a quiz, two quizzes. One that helps you identify in terms of how you need to show up as a content leader. And then the second one is an assessment that helps you understand when it comes to your purposeful brand, exactly where are you on your mind level, on your subconscious level, on your brain level, so that you can know for sure, okay, this is where I am, this is what I need to do to move to this next level. And so I have those two assessments to kind of help you first, where are you in your brand? And then second, if I want to show up online as a leader with my content, how do I need to understand I am so I can show up in that way that is easy for me and lovable to the people I'm meant to serve.
I appreciate the fact that from your personal challenge, my God, talk about a trial. You were so stressed out. And let's just talk about that for a minute. I have seen some incredibly outstanding achievers and leaders work themselves to meet the expectations of corporate leadership, of their
Yeah.
own entrepreneurial objectives,
Yeah.
trying to meet families' expectations,
Right.
traveling cross country, meeting employment obligations, and then
Right.
doing your side hustle. Absolutely. And then the whole family's in shock when you have a stroke, heart attacks, etc., right?
That part.
Um, and I hate to hear that you had to go through that wake up
Yeah.
call. Well,
Yeah.
and not the heart attacks and stroke. You know what I'm saying? Going back to your
Yeah.
story, you
Yeah.
said it
Yeah.
happened in about 2009 or 2019.
2009, but it took me 7 years to get over it.
Okay.
Literally. And it was a conversation with my husband that helped me realize I was not performing at optimal because my subconscious was afraid that if I perform that same way again, we're going to end up in the freaking emergency room. And so my subconscious was like, yeah, we're not going to work that hard because we don't want to go there. And my husband was like, I promise you, there's another way to still do the thing you want to do. And you don't have to burn yourself out and end up with adrenal fatigue. And I was like, well, I don't know what that way is. And so I literally had to like take things off my life, off my plate, and build basically all over like, okay, what does boundary setting for myself look like? What does keeping my word to myself look like? I have kids, obviously. So obviously that I work with their schedule, but I used to go to the beach every Friday. That was part of my keeping my central nervous system regulated. Every 3 months, I take 3 or 4 days away from my family and my husband and everybody, just in a quiet place to kind of reconnect with God. And that's where I created the God Care Planners. It's like a 3-day planner that helps you and to God get to talk and reconnect to what your purpose is. And so I figured out things to do to regulate and to align with this version of me that is not going to end up with adrenal fatigue or anxiety, or, because I understand now how I'm supposed to move. And I think going through it helps me explain to other people that it's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be easy. And as a human being, that is very hard to accept because we've been taught that everything is hard work. Some things are smart work, some things are strategic work, and some things you have to put in the effort too. But once you put in the effort, it should like compound for you. And so I'm grateful for actually going through that, because I've helped explain this to a lot of women so that they can understand. Look, I've been there. I literally know what it means to like just, I understand burnout, I understand adrenal fatigue, and I understand that there's another way. And so now that I get to live the other way, I can share with women what you need to do, because this world of over everything, over this, over achiever, over this, over that. When you're over anything, it literally means your central nervous system doesn't feel safe. So it overs to try to get to safety, but you never get to safety because you're overing. Like, you are enough. You, as you are, without doing a thing, are enough. So then you get to decide, what does this life that I want to live look like on your terms? And some people might have to, be the ones going 50,000 miles per hour. That's not you. You may need to go 25 miles per hour and still get the same result or better. But you're not getting that result because you're doing somebody else's blueprint, running somebody else's race, and you're wondering why you're tired, because that's not your race. This is why.
Yes. So good. Absolutely. So very good. My goodness. And that piece about boundaries, goodness,
Mm-hmm.
men, women, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We must know our boundaries, but you understand the significance of setting your boundaries when you know who you are
Yeah.
and know who you're called to serve. And I
Yeah.
don't mean the people, I mean that audience of
That
one,
God, look,
audience of one.
there's only one person I am afraid of, and that is God. And I love and I fear God at the same time, in terms of when I'm not in alignment, I literally get like a ping real quick. Something happens. I either drop something, I lose something, so I only work for God. Like, my fear is not with people. I'm sorry. Like, my fear is, actually, I'm not sorry. I take that back. I am glad that I get to only fear God. I am privileged to do that, because so many of us are stuck in fear of other people or other things. God is the only one I fear, because God made everything possible. And the same human beings we're afraid of, God created. So who should we be afraid of? I don't get it.
That's right. It's knowing what true love is. I personally got to a point where I said, God, I recognize I don't know what love is. I mean, this was like
Mm,
probably a good 30, yeah, it was over
mm,
30 years ago. I
mm,
recognize I don't really know what love is. You know what I
mm,
mean? And I think
mm,
I recognized it as, after college, after,
mhm.
when you start putting yourself into different circles and you're encountering different people and learning about their journeys and seeing it firsthand,
Right,
seeing
right,
how they interact with their
right.
families, with their spouses, with their children. It's like,
Mhm.
there's a difference here.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I knew the only one who can really teach me true love. I mean, I called myself, well, I was a Christian. I certainly
Mhm.
accepted,
Right.
Christ as my Lord and Savior. However, there was a goodness, at least a good 5 to 7 years that I didn't
Mhm.
even realize I needed to be reading the Bible. I
Mm.
did not know that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate coming back to your content.
Mhm.
Maybe it was about 6 months ago, you put out a
Mhm.
post of, some of the things that you find, some of your essentials, and the
Mhm.
Quran and the
Mhm. Yeah,
Bible
Bible.
were a
Yeah.
part of that list.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. And I believe that when we are genuine with
Mhm.
our content about our
Mhm.
own authenticity, about our
Right.
own identity,
Right.
regardless of what people think, this is who I am. This is how I'm able to move forward every single morning and go on in the
Yeah.
strength, and in my
Yeah.
own identity.
Yeah.
So yeah, please continue. I love
Yeah.
hearing
Thank
about
you.
your journey. I've
Thank you.
I've totally, I don't know everything. That's why I got you here. That's why I'm so grateful for the privilege of this moment with you, Yetunde.
Thank you.
Um, but I thoroughly enjoyed listening to your interviews that are available. And like I said, seeing your content
Mhm.
because it is something many of us can relate to. Your story does resonate with a good number of people around the
Yeah.
globe. And as you're talking about the relationship between your identity as a person, as a
Mhm.
professional, and keeping healthy awareness, all encompassing, but particularly how our decisions can affect our nervous system and therefore our
Yes, yes,
um,
yes.
I really appreciate you incorporating that
Yeah.
into your expertise, into your certification. Well, you got certified, and
Hmm.
go into all of that. But I don't want to rob everybody from the richness of your evolving story. So please continue. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think because like I said when we started is I know on a soul level I'm on a self-actualization journey. Like I need to realize my full soul self, literally on a level that is like once I get it, because I know how to synthesize and translate things, I can translate it to other people so they can get there faster. It's like getting the velvet rope treatment. We're like, oh, please come over, leave that line and come over here. Let's skip the line because we're not spending 30 minutes outside waiting to get in the club, right? So I think kind of the evolution and the process of all the things I'm learning and the certifications I'm getting. Like right now, I'm working on 2 certifications in neuroscience to kind of help me understand better how to apply neuroscience, not just to self, but to business. So that's another layer that I'm working on this year. And the goal of that, again, because I'm creating something that is kind of like a new platform. We're trademarking now, so I can't talk too much about it, but a new platform that integrates certain modalities on how to learn and helps your brain remember faster, helps your subconscious remember faster. And so for me, learning more about neuroscience, literally that's the logical part of how the body works, how the neurology works, how the systems in the body work that make us as humans effective, right? And so when I think of evolution, it's not just a um certification thing or I learned this, I learned that. I think it's a soul thing, meaning like I would say even in the last 3 months, I feel like I've stepped into another level of my soul where the old me, her capacity was limited. And so now there's a level of capacity that I feel like I have emotionally to carry with my clients and with the people that I'm gonna be serving. Like I feel like on a soul level, I've met them. Eventually, they will materialize here. And so I think when I think of evolution, I think of it on all the different layers. This is why I say with Onos Society, it's a holistic perspective. We're not just talking about our business growth. We're talking about a spiritual growth, whether you're Muslim, Christian, or otherwise. Like, how are you connecting to the thing that's bigger than you, to God, and not the universe, because God created the universe. So how are you connected to the thing that's bigger than the universe, right? How you connect, you don't want to call it God, but it is God. Find another name for it, but it's a thing that is bigger than the universe because God created the universe. So the universe cannot be God, right? So I think it's what does your evolution look like on every level? Mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, and business wise. Like there it's a holistic perspective because you're a human being. You're a being. So you have to do the thing every day. It's not a one-time thing. Like you have to be, you wake up and you decide who are you being today. You're a human being, loving, being kind. You're a human being, compassionate, being wicked, being thoughtful, being inconsiderate, all of the emotions. And the question is, are you okay with the evolution of your soul as you evolve into better versions of you? Or are you stuck in the version of you that should have left when you were in your 30s and now you're like 50 and 60 and that version of you is maxed out, which is why you're not experiencing expansion because you're still on a soul level, you're holding on to the 20, 30-year-old version of you that her capacity is maxed out. So stuff's not going right because she's like, I ain't got it. She's not supposed to be here anymore. And so, how do you step into the next level version of your soul so that you can absorb all the things that evolution needs? And then when you get to that next level, same thing. You got to let that go and expand so that by the time you get back to your maker, you are empty. That is my vision and my hope that this is my life. Like, I believe in reincarnation, one, because I grew up in what my name means, Yetunde means mother has returned. So by Yoruba culture, I am my grandmother reincarnated.
Okay.
When I go back to God,
Mm-hmm.
when I connect back to source, I'm hoping this is my last lifetime. I want to do, this is why I think I'm just being creative and doing all the things. I'm trying to get all the things done
Get it
so
done.
that when I go back to God,
Yes.
this is it. I'm done. And then, short of God saying, you got to come back, this is my life's last cycle, but I need to do all the things and I need to self actualize so that when I realize it before I exit this planet by God's words at the right time, I can share that so that everybody else can realize their soul level on a higher plane and be able to understand God in the essential knowledge of it. Like God is already in you. You literally breathe. That is the breath of God in you. And so you have to honor it. And so I'm looking forward to sharing as I evolve up until I exit this planet.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yetunde, my goodness, we have to do this again, even before the husband comes, because there's just so much. And thank you for um, explaining. It's all encompassing, right?
Yeah.
A recent conversation involved parenting. Parents have to let go,
Yeah.
even if you have that adult child under your roof. They're not the same. The relationship is not the same. Oh my goodness. I've heard pastors talk about the wisdom of mothers,
Mhm.
especially single moms,
Mhm.
needing to understand when that son reaches 11, 12 years old, you cannot talk to him like you did last year. He is a man. In the miniseries Roots, the miniseries first episode begins with Kunta Kinte getting his own hut. And Dr. Maya Angelou, who portrayed
Mhm.
his grandmother, Cicely
Yeah.
Tyson, his mom, she was, hugging him. You're
Yeah.
15 now,
Yeah.
go. You got your own
Yeah.
hut.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to recognize that evolving, like you said,
Yeah.
whether it's professionally,
Mhm.
even if it's just you yourself and the Lord,
Yeah.
you grow from glory to glory to
Right.
glory as you seek that higher
Yeah.
being, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
source. Like you
Yeah.
said, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's very, very important, and you've already explained this, but really for those that need real specifics, um, of course, tell everyone, where and how they can connect, but who is your ideal client right now today and
Mhm.
your ideal business partners? You're working on your business is evolving. Like you say, you can't say much because there's a
Yeah.
patent,
Trademark.
trademark,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Yeah.
in process. Um,
Yeah.
Share with that so that people go ahead.
Yeah. So my ideal client is a woman who has accomplished some things in life. She's a different person, but what she shows the world is the old soul version of her. And she's there's a gap. I call it identity latency. There's a gap between who you are and who you were, and people haven't caught up. So you're stuck in this place where people see you as who you were 3 years ago, and you're like, I'm not even that anymore. And so that woman who has accomplished some level of success, she knows that she wants the world to see who she is so that she can do her work. She wants to find a community of women who are purpose centered, who have like to have a good time, live life, love life, who also understand life has challenges and that they know that they can overcome. A woman who knows that if she steps fully into her purpose, she can impact more people, therefore building legacy because impact is what makes legacy possible. And through that, she can make more money because I think when more women have more money, when good women have more money, they do good. And so she understands that they're all connected. I'm looking forward to the woman who is ready to experience radical clarity in her next identity and wants a roadmap to how to step into it confidently, releasing the old version of her in a way that is a beautiful goodbye, farewell, and a celebratory welcome to this new version of you that although you are clueless about who she is, you're also excited about her possibilities. So that is my ideal clients. That is who I attract. I've been in business for 18 years, going to be 19 years this year. And my business has been through referral, relationships, and radical clarity. And so I'm looking forward to meeting the women that I know I'm supposed to meet. I've believed that since I started my business. And so I'm looking forward to when you're ready for me to guide you into your next level. Because my job is to guide you and you are the Neo to your Matrix. I am the Morpheus. If you watch the Matrix, I am the Morpheus to help you understand that you are the one. And so I will do everything I can to help you believe it so that you can step into your full power and crack the Matrix.
Awesome, awesome. And when it comes to people embracing, rejecting, or apprehensive about
Mhm.
AI and
Mhm.
your ideal client, can you speak on that, please?
So far to date, in the last 3 years, I've been able to take 15 of my clients from I can't stand AI, I don't like AI, to oh my God, thank you for helping me see it in this way. And so with everything, there's always a cause and effect. There's always pros and cons, right? And so for me, it's again, I pride myself on understanding and being resourceful so that I know the things that will come in the way of your purpose. So I'm a creative person, so I love learning. So I've spent the time on God knows how many AI softwares, God help me, to learn it so I can understand how to translate to you so that you can show up as yourself and use AI as a I think of AI as my executive virtual assistant. Literally, I give them names. Like I call, well, there's one that I have that's Denny, there's Bruce, and there's C. And so they're literally my intelligent virtual assistants that help me support my business. And so I help the women I work with understand in a purpose centered way how to maximize AI for their purpose work and get beyond the fear of AI because the fear is it's like the internet. There's pros and cons. Before the internet became a thing, we had the same response. And so this one, the difference is this one is accelerating really fast, but there are fundamentals that if you understand will help you do your purpose work better, be in the top 1 or 9% of people that use AI to transform lives so that as you are coming in this ground level, you become one of the leaders in the future that helps people see AI as a tool you can use for your purpose. And in the places where AI is dangerous and challenging, we now understand it so we can be a part of solving it. But you don't get to be a part of that solution if you're not a part of it now.
Um, Very good, very good. Yeah, and I hear the full answers to those who may say, "Oh, but it's a way for them, the 1% to control the rest of us, and we're helping them to meet their objective." But you just said we need to tap into it and understand so
Right.
that you if you feel like there's some type of narcissistic control, well, understand that better so then you recognize it, but you also are able to stand on top of it. Am I right?
You cannot hack a system if you do not understand the system. So it is important that you understand the hackers, understand the system. That's why they can break it and do things. But you don't get to be on the outside, not knowing the system and wanting to hack it. It's not going to be possible. So if you understand what your objective is, come in learning the system with the goal of whatever change you want to make. And hacking is bending it to do what you want it to do. But it's like, I think of it like it's the same way people accumulate wealth and money. I think a lot of people don't step into wealth or don't embrace earning more because they're afraid of who they will become when they have money. And so if you're worried about that, I always advise you work on being a good person because good people do good things with money. So good people having access to money helps more good people. And you need to be one of those people. You don't get to be like, okay, well, the bad guys can have the money. I'll just live this, minimal suffering, challenging, humble life. If you feel that way, for some people, they're okay with that. If you're not, it's because you're meant to make more and help more people. And so in that case, it's the same way. You need to understand the system so that you can use it for our hashtag love agents good in the world.
Wonderful, Yetunde. Oh my gosh, this has been so rich. Of course, absolutely Absolutely. So grateful for you being right here with me. And um, yeah, how can the right people tap in with you?
Yeah.
How, what do you have coming up? Now, I hear you've
That I
got
can talk
a
about. That's
totally
okay.
evolved platform
Yeah, yeah,
coming up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So to connect with me, I hang out on Instagram with my name, Yetunde Shorters. I also hang out on LinkedIn, same name. And what I have coming up is a couple of like kind of digital ebooks, and I'm thinking of including videos in there. One of them I'm calling Referred, which is where I'm finally, and I say finally because inside my client circle I share with my clients, but I'm finally sharing my strategy and the way for the last 18 years I've built a multiple six-figure business with referrals. So I'm sharing all the things, including the script, so that you can understand how it works. And if you're in a person where you've done ads, you've done all the things the gurus told you and it's not working, it's probably because your power is in your network. And so this thing I'm launching, I'm hoping in the next month it will be done. It'll be like $99 probably. But I'm sharing like an ebook on, I'm calling it Referred, um how to build a multiple six-figure business with referrals, relationships, and radical clarity. And so that's what's coming. But meet me online. I share videos, insights, anything to help you step into your purpose, anything to help you understand your personal brand and help you with tips that give you a mindset shift to understand yourself better and know how you want to show up in this world. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you and in some way having you join the bandwagon of my fellow Owner Society member and join the bandwagon of being a love agent so that you can help us together transform our world the way God intends us to, because love is fighting for its life, and love agents get to get in battle for that fight, whatever that looks like for you.
Hey, come on, warriors. Come on, warriors. Love it. Absolutely. You know, and everything on this side of heaven is a battle. Everything is a battle. So we have to pick up our tools, pick up our resources. Most importantly, link arm in arm with those who are like-minded, like-spirited, like-hearted, right?
Yeah.
I love your mindset. Um, Wonderful, ma'am. So I'm being greedy. Can you just one more thing that's on my heart? I don't want to leave
Yes.
your presence regretting that I didn't ask you this.
Okay.
And I definitely appreciate the hashtag, say it again,
Love agents.
hashtag love agents. Yetande, what is your most recently impacting affirmation you've been practicing for yourself?
Most recently is there's a couple, but the one that I've been kind of repeating the last month is the reminder that I would say is the idea of what it looks like to step fully into your purpose. And so, because I have times when I'm like, I don't feel like it, I genuinely, I'm like, I'm tired. God, not today. I ain't got it. Right. And so I repeat to myself, the world will be better when we all step fully into our purpose. And we all want a better world. And so that's literally what breaks my heart, that I feel like we can be better. I see the things happening in the news. And I get emotional when I think about it, because I'm like, if we just step into our purpose, we would be better. But you have a lot of people doing things that are not their purpose. A lot of people being misaligned and kind of turning away from the light. And so they're experiencing darkness, and all you need to do is just turn back around and face the light, right? The further you move away from God, the further into darkness you go, further away from light. So the one that has been, I would say, in my mind, the last 3 months has been a reminder of when we all step fully into our purpose, the world will be a better place. And it's time. So I've been saying that, let's go. It's time to step fully into your purpose. Like, there's no excuse. No excuse. There's none. There's none.
Amen, amen, and amen, ma'am. I truly appreciate you. I lift you up every single endeavor in the name of
Thank you.
Jesus.
Thank you.
In the name
Amen.
of Allah, in the name
Amen.
of Jesus.
Amen. Amen. Whatever works for you. Amen.